Hey guys, my name is Tito. I make videos on personal finance on my other channel. On this channel, I talk about other things, like today when I'll be counting down my 10 worst Nollywood films of 2022. And guys, I can't tell you how much I've been looking forward to making this particular video. Every time I saw a bad Nollywood film in the cinemas or on a streaming platform, I was looking forward to the day that I'd honor that film by putting it on my top 10 worst of 2022, and that day has finally come. I'm so excited. Before we dive into the countdown, guys, please do me a favor and like this video by clicking on the like button just underneath the video, and subscribe to my channel as well by clicking on the black subscribe button. It's customary around here on YouTube that if you enjoy a video or if you like a YouTuber's face, that you click on the like button and you subscribe to their channel. So please do that if you haven't done so already. I'm going to ask later on in the video, so you might as well just do it now. That said, guys, let's dive into the countdown and talk about my 10 worst Nollywood films of 2022. I'm so excited.
Number 10, Chief Daddy 2, Going for Broke.
If you guys remember, Chief Daddy 2 was like the first really big Nollywood film to come out in 2022. It came out on January 1st on Netflix, and the responses to that film, they were legendary. Let me just put it like that. And the reason why it's on the top 10 worst list, I'm sure you guys already know, there were several problems with the film. First of all, it was an unnecessary sequel. Nobody asked for Chief Daddy 2, but they gave it to us anyway. Secondly, and most importantly, the plot or the premise of this film felt very weak and implausible. Rahama Sadau's character Leila comes into the picture. She takes over Chief Daddy's company. We don't know how, And then the rest of his family is worried that they won't have access to Chief Daddy's wealth, which just makes them run around like headless chickens throughout the movie. And it makes it more painful that it's an ensemble, star-studded cast. In fact, thinking back on it now, it's bringing back some PTSD. And I know what some of you are thinking, that why is Chief Daddy 2 just at number 10 if it was that bad? Shouldn't it be closer to number 1? The truth is, because of what I do on this channel, I see lots of Nollywood films, and I've honestly seen many, many more films that were worse than Chief Daddy 2. Yeah, as you'll find out throughout the course of this video, which is why Chief Daddy 2 is sitting comfortably at number 10 on this top 10 list.
Number 9, Finding Hubby 2.
Finding Hubby 2 is another sequel in this top 10 that nobody asked for. It's the sequel to 2020's Finding Hubby, and in this one, Oyin Clegg finds out that her fiancé is bi. He swings both ways, but she decides to still go ahead with the wedding, right? But on the wedding day, it's the fiancé that says he doesn't want to get married anymore. So Oyin is flung back into the dating pool, sadly for her, and the film just gets even more weird from there on out, because her friend from part 1, OC, now turns out to be married to another one of her friends, and OC is also an abusive husband, and he's also trying to get with Oyin. So it's just really weird. And what makes the film even more annoying is the fact that Oyin Clegg ends up with her ex, Ade, somebody who jilted her in the first film. And it makes you wonder that, so what was the point if she's only ending up at the end of the day with somebody who did her wrong in the first movie? But to be honest, there were several things that were wrong with that film, as you would know if you've seen that film, Finding Hubby 2.
Number 8, Head Over Bills.
Head Over Bills is about this billionaire who is a mother of 3 grown daughters who are living off her wealth, and one day she calls them together and tells them to do better with their lives or else she's going to cut them off, right? Unbeknownst to them, their mom is going through some personal things, which is why she's telling them to step up in life. Now, why this film is in my top 10 worst of 2022 is because the story just wasn't solid enough, but really, the acting was terrible. The acting was really bad. There was one actress in this film who, this was the first time I was being introduced to her, and goodness me. Let me just leave it at that. Also, the dialogue in this film was not it. The dialogue was crappy. The lighting was poor. This film had the feeling or the vibe of like one of those YouTube films that we watch free of charge on YouTube. But yeah, and another thing is that I was looking forward to this film when I saw the poster because it came out around February, so I thought it would be like a rom-com around Valentine's Day. Suffice to say that I was thoroughly disappointed.
Number 7, Passport.
In Passport, Jim Ike plays a UK-based Nigerian who returns to Nigeria to propose to his girlfriend. On his way back to the UK, on the way to the airport, his bag containing his passport is stolen, and he enlists the help of Mercy Johnson's character, a local thug, to help him retrieve the passport. Now, the problem with this film and why it's in this list of the top 10 worst of 2022 is because it felt like a very obvious imitation of some successful Nollywood films, or some Nollywood films that came out recently that did rather well. I felt like with this film, they took a little bit from Dwindle, they took a little bit from Ponzi, a little bit from The Ghost and the Tao 2, and a little bit from Sugar Rush, and they mixed it all up and they tried to produce this movie, and it felt rather obvious. In fact, the character that Mercy Johnson plays in this film is very similar to the character she plays in The Ghost and the Tao 2, and this film is actually produced by the same person who produced the Coyote Kasum film Ponzi. I think that came out last year. So it kind of felt quite obvious. And the house that they used in this film was kind of like the same house, not even kind of like, was the same house that featured heavily in Dwindle as well. It just felt quite obvious, and it didn't help that the storytelling in this film wasn't anything to write home about.
Number 6. Cake.
In Cake, Tope Tedela plays a baker and business owner, right? And he's infatuated with this woman, a customer, played by Sophia Lakija. And she barely acknowledges his existence, to be honest. She has her own thing going on, but Tope's character is so infatuated with her to a point that it actually puts him on the wrong side of the law. And the problem with this film is the characters just didn't really feel strong enough, and you don't really feel the connection between the characters in this film, from Tope's character to his co-workers to Sophie's character. It just felt like there wasn't a strong enough connection between all the characters. Finally, while watching this film, you'll be wondering what the direction is and where this film is actually going. Is it about this guy's relationship with his late mom? Is it about, how he's trying to form a connection with this woman who he's infatuated with? Is it about him and this employee of his who has a crush on him? You just don't know where the film is going to. And when it gets to its destination at the end of the day, you're like, so that was it? It felt quite pointless at the end of the day.
Number 5. Obsession.
Obsession. A film so bad that I had actually cast it into the sea of forgetfulness. I forgot that I had seen this film and reviewed it on my YouTube channel. Now, this film actually looked like it had potential. It stars Gideon Okeke, who is a brilliant actor and who you don't see in many films, right? And then it also dared to be a thriller, or at least it wanted to be. And we don't see too many thrillers in Nollywood, so I assumed that, hey, if you're going to be a thriller and you're going to go in that direction, then you're going to know what you're doing. I was wrong. In this film, Munachi Abi plays this woman with a dark past who moves into a new neighborhood, and she becomes obsessed with her neighbors, played by Gideon Okeke, and this Ghanaian actress whose name I really can't remember. I'll probably put her name on the screen. And one night she essentially attacks them, and that's pretty much the film. And the problem with the film is, first of all, the characters weren't properly developed. There's that, because Munachi Abi's character and her past, it wasn't giving, and it really didn't explain much. So there was that bad character development, and then the twists in the film, they weren't twisting. They were poorly thought out, and they were poorly executed. And let me not start with the dialogue in this film. The dialogue, particularly dialogue that involved one particular actress in this movie, was abysmal, to just put it in one word. Yes, it was abysmal. Then the final act of this movie was unnecessary and tacky. This film, I regretted it as soon as it was over, which is why I cast it into the sea of forgetfulness.
Number 4. Money Misroad.
Money Misroad is a remake of a 2005 film called Lucky Joe, and I feel like this film tried to cash in on the trend of movies where there are characters who are down on their luck, and then they find a whole lot of money that belongs to a criminal, and then they steal the money and they start spending the money, but then the criminal finds them and then tells them to produce their money back in full, or else bad things will happen. So yes, Money Misroad is one of those films. Now, this film stars Jide Kene Achufusi, who is a great actor, and Josh Too Funny, who is a really good comedian, right? But the problem with the movie, first of all, is the continuity. Continuity was crap. But the fact that the jokes in this film really didn't land, which is painful because Josh Too Funny is a really funny guy on a normal day. Lots of scenes were unnecessary in this film, and lots of scenes were longer than they needed to be in this film. Particularly one scene where Jide Kenne's character is making out with this young woman, and then they go from downstairs to upstairs. That scene felt like it took forever. But the most annoying thing about this film, and probably why it's in this top 10 worst of 2022, was the final confrontation at the end of the movie. It felt like it was rushed, first of all, and it also felt like it was a plan B. It wasn't the initial plan. It felt like the day they filmed that scene, maybe some key people didn't show up to work, so they went in another direction, and it felt rather obvious. So yes, if you pay to go and see Money Miss Road in the cinema, dare I say your money indeed missed road.
Number 3, Weather for Two.
Weather for Two, the most recent film in this top 10. I know many of you have seen it. Some of you have even seen my review of Weather for Two. I'm not even going to really get into the synopsis. Essentially, it's a film about this guy who is cheating rapidly, and his wife knows he's cheating. At some point, the paternity of their daughter comes into question in the film. And this film is not in the top 10 worst of 2022 because of its weak plot. It's not in the top 10 because the makeup was terrible. It's not in the top 10 because the characters were poorly developed. This film is in the top 10 worst of 2022 because this is the only film that I saw this year from Nollywood that didn't have an ending. In the movie, Kolade wakes up in his car from a nightmare. He's stunned. He leaves his side chick's house. He goes to his house. He sits in a chair, and the movie ends. When I saw the end credits rolling, in my mind I was like, Shay, you dey wine me. Shay, you dey wine. The movie was over. 1 hour and 9 minutes of our collective lives that we will never get back again wasted on this film. The day we get the people from Netflix or whoever is in charge of Netflix Nigeria or whoever signed off on that film, the day we get that person on the hot seat or in the hot seat, we will ask them, why did you allow Weather for Two on your platform? Fun fact, by like late November, I had already compiled my top 10 worst of 2022. It was good to go. But then this film, Weather for Two, came out on the 25th of November on Netflix. I saw it and I said, no. I have to remove something from my top 10 and put this film in there by fire, by thunder, by force. Here we are today. That's why it's so high up on this list of my top 10 worst of 2022. I know many of you feel like it should actually be number 1, but to be honest, the other films that I've seen, the ones I'm going to mention after this, they did me wrong more than Weather for Two, if I have to be honest.
Number 2, Inside Life.
Inside Life, I think, was the most pointless Nollywood film I saw in the cinema in 2022. It stars Wole Ojo as this legal practitioner who gets thrown into jail because of the shortcomings of the legal system in Nigeria. And I actually think that's what this film was driving at, right? How bad the legal system is in the country. So he's thrown into jail. He has a very rough time in jail. It shows how nasty jail is in Nigeria. He spends a few weeks there, but he's eventually released. And you would think that once he's released, he'll try and correct the circumstances that got him thrown into jail wrongfully in the first place. But no, he just comes out, he's upset, and then the movie ends. He doesn't correct things. Also, while he was in jail, he meets this unfortunate character who is wrongfully put in jail, who is played by Brother Shaggy, right? And they spend a bit of time with Brother Shaggy's character explaining what happened to him and why he's in jail. So you would think that once Wole Ojo's character gets out, he's going to, try and get justice or seek justice for that character played by Brother Shaggy. He doesn't. He pretty much forgets about the guy at the end of the film. So because this film didn't have a resolution, it felt rather pointless to me. And the other offense that this film committed is, like many other Nollywood films these days, it used some big name stars in the person of Brother Shaggy and Nedu, who are very influential on social media, to sell this film. Because their characters in the film weren't very integral. They weren't very powerful, for lack of a better word. But those two actors and their characters were really used to sell the movie or to push the movie or to market the movie. And that's something that, like I said, Nollywood films tend to do. They take very popular people, primarily on social media, put them in the film, hoping that their followers on social media will go and see the film, so as to make money for the movie. So this was a blatant use of that whatever. So yes, this is why Inside Life really rubbed me the wrong way and is so high in my top 10 worst of 2022 list. And the award for worst Nollywood film that I saw in 2022 goes to Tiger's Tail. Now, this film is about two rival gang leaders, Tiger and Snake, and how they clash when a young woman comes into their community to try and help the youth in the community. And in the mix or in between all that is a love triangle or two that kind of really has no bearing in the film, but it's there anyway. And the transgressions of this film are numerous, from bad editing, bad cinematography, horrendous dialogue, bad acting, and a final act or a confrontation in the final act that is so ridiculous that I can't even begin to explain it. I mean, there were bodies that were meant to be lifeless on the floor in the scene, but you could see them breathing. You guys need to watch this film. I hope it gets to a streaming platform so that you guys can understand why this film made it to the number 1 spot on my list of worst Nollywood films of 2022. My goodness. So there it is, guys, my top 10 worst Nollywood films of 2022. Now, it may interest you to know that I actually shortlisted 18 films for this video. I had to cut 8 out so that this would be a concise top 10. And I'm really pained that films like Before Valentine's and Over Her Dead Body, those two films in particular, I'm pained that they didn't make it to this top 10 because I really, really did not enjoy those two films in particular. Anyway, guys, let me know in the comment section down below what your worst Nollywood film of 2022 was. Tell me in the comments. I look forward to hearing from you. Now, if this video is out, it means that my top 10 best of Nollywood 2022 is either already out or will be out shortly. So be sure to click the card in the corner of the screen to watch that video after this one. Finally, guys, do me a small favor and like this video by clicking on the like button and subscribe to my channel as well by clicking on the black subscribe button. You know I asked you at the beginning of the video. Many of you didn't do it, so I'm asking you again. You've come this far in the video. Why not just show me some love and like the video and subscribe to my channel? I promise you, you won't regret it. They're down below. Thank you guys so much for watching. I'll see you in my next video real soon, which should hopefully be the top 10 best of Nollywood 2022. Take care. Now, I said my best Nollywood films of 2022 video should be out now, but the truth is I need to see Funke Akindele's new film and Toyin Abraham's new film. Both films are yet to come out, but once I see them, I will make the video, and the video will be ready by the end of December or early January 2023 at the latest. Okay? In the meantime, however, you guys can watch these videos showing on the screen right now.